Hey guys, welcome back to the point where we're all relaxed, we're ready to go for the new year. We haven't had F1 for ages and we are pumped and so excited to go for the new season.
Yep.
It didn't sneak up on us or anything.
No,
We thought we
definitely not. No, it's it felt like a very short off season if I'm completely honest. So it's weird because it's one of those seasons where I know it's gonna be like last season was so good, and I feel like this season could also throw up the same sort of twists and turns. I've found it so hard to really get excited for it. And I think it might take the first race weekend to actually properly get
I
me
know what
into
you
it.
mean.
You know what I mean?
I know what you mean.
But it's just been so hard to get into it for some reason. I don't know why.
And even like sometimes, we're counting down to testing and you see everything new and you go, oh, we're finally seeing them. And like I enjoyed watching testing and it was cool seeing things. But it's almost like it's still kind of just, I don't know, felt off.
Yeah.
I don't know.
Yep.
We almost need this first weekend to start. We need this first qualifying. It's weird. I don't know. It's weird. It's weird. It feels weird.
Yep.
I
agree. I agree. We've
had, I don't know, I guess there's been good off-season motorsport too. There's been a lot of good motorsport. I mean, if you watched the IMSA 24-hour, that was a cracker. If you watched the Bathurst 12-hour, that was a cracker. But you know what I am excited for? Because when we go live with F1, we're also this weekend going live with F2.
F2. Pinnacle Motorsport.
Is F3 Bahrain? Does F3 do Bahrain?
I don't know. No, they are Bahrain for F3.
So they're Bahrain, then Melbourne.
Bahrain, then Melbourne. Yeah, okay. So we've got F2 and F3.
Based.
The Pinnacle of Motorsport and then the Pinnacle of Motorsport.
I know. So I think once it kicks off, it'll be exciting.
It's going to be a good weekend.
And I have to find time to watch it all. I'll find time to watch it all. It'll be fine.
It's happening on Saturday. It's happening a day early.
I haven't
you got an extra day to...
I haven't... Yeah, I can catch up on Sunday, you're right, because I haven't got a whole endurance race on Saturday or anything that's going to be in the middle of everything.
I forgot you had that. It's
but it's all good. We're not here anyway. We're going off topic already. We're like, let's just be quick about this. We're already talking about other multiple topics that aren't F1.
Yep.
So we are back with F1. We did just have 3 days of testing. I mean, testing is always interesting, but still it was interesting. Seeing some cars that look different, seeing lots of funky wings and funky side pods and funky intakes. But I think it still leaves to say that even if we do have rules that are fairly similar to last year and cars that are kind of performing the same, you still don't know until you get to that Saturday, and then you still don't know until that checkered flag comes out. Well, it will be the Friday, and then the... Fuck it, I can't do this. It's a day earlier. It's a day earlier. It's a day earlier this year. It's not Sunday. I know you just said it, and I already am going back into going, it's Sunday race. No.
Nope.
It is actually kicking off on the Thursday local time because on the following weekend, because there is a back-to-back between Bahrain and Saudi Arabia, on the 10th of March is the holiday of Ramadan, and therefore they made a deal to not race there on that Sunday. And the F1 rules also stipulate that if you have a back-to-back, you basically have to leave 7 days between race days. You can't have it 6. So therefore, they decided to push Bahrain back for that as well. So in classic F1 fashion, it means that even the first race, there seems to be something funky going on. It makes sense why they're doing it. I get it. It's just funny that F1 just seems to always have these little quips and quirks that are
It's always
going
Formula
on.
1, isn't it? Yeah.
Yes. Aside from the general talking points in terms of the fact we've just had testing, and I guess I'll get your thoughts in a moment on who you think is strong and some general trends, I wouldn't be surprised if there was a few kind of, I guess, general weekend news going on. Over testing, there was a bit of a theme that they had problems with drain covers, and that was generally sparked by the fact that drivers were really using a lot of curbs, and in some corners, they would have their inside tyre still on the track, and the outside tyre was past the curb off the track. So it seems as a trend that we saw with the last few years, but especially last year, and now they're really using all the track width they can with these super wide cars. And I wouldn't be surprised, even if not for the drains, that they might modify a few things before this weekend just to accommodate for that.
Yeah, I did see that thing about how they're using more curbs, and I think I watched, was it Julian Palmer did his sort of like a 10-minute analysis where I watched that, and he was talking about how one of the things that he took away is that, cars are just, because they're so stable now, like everyone's obviously got the aerodynamics under control. They're not as unstable going all the way on the curbs. So they're just abusing these track limits, like trying to get as far over as much as possible. We've already had track limits issues last year at a couple of circuits in pretty severe fashion, where drivers and fans and teams, whatever, are all trying to figure out some kind of solution. This is only gonna make it worse.
It's in testing, and it was already an issue. It's testing.
Yes.
I don't think we've ever heard testing where drivers going to limits was a big issue.
No.
Like...
I this won't be the last we hear of this, and I think we'll probably hear it before Austria.
We're already hearing it before the first race, which says something, right?
Yeah.
For the drains, they did say that for the race weekend, given that the ironic thing is the drains did get heavily used the weekend prior during F2 testing, so it's not like they're useless. But I think they looked ahead and they can see there's no chance of any rain. I think they said for most of the drains, they're just going to fill them with concrete. And then after the race is done, they will, of course, pull it up and probably install better drains.
Yes.
But just to make sure that there's no further drama, there's no Las Vegas incident, they're just going to concrete it up and say, right, let's sort it out after everyone's done here.
Yeah, there's a talking point. The first time it's ever rained in Bahrain, ever. When they had the F2
made some great pictures for F2.
Incredible.
Wow, amazing shots.
Ever seen rain in Bahrain with Formula cars on the track. It was unbelievable. So fingers crossed, it could happen. It won't.
Well,
it won't.
You never know. Yeah. Well, it'll just mean all the drains are going to not work, so we filled with concrete, so we won't be able to drive. So.
It'll just be floods. It'll
be
fine.
Classic F1.
Cancelled, but we'll still charge you all the tickets a la Spa.
Yes, exactly. Yes.
Good stuff. Funny sport, this.
But it will be good stuff. I mean, it is F1.
Yes.
It is funny seeing the general sentiment around and people going, look, it's happening and I'm going to watch. But a lot of people but that spark maybe just isn't there. And it's not necessarily because we already know it's going to be a dominant season. I mean, I
feel like it still plays a factor, for sure.
It plays a factor to it, but there's still so much else to play out. And it's still F1 at the end of the day, and people who've loved F1 since they were babies and watching still are going to watch it. But the general sentiment just seemed to be, it's not like, even going on social media today, you see, of course, a few teams on the page going, it's race week, but you don't see everyone under the sun going, it's race week. It's always just don't forget it's on a Thursday. Thanks, mate. I'll see you there. And that's about it. It's like,
yeah, you're right.
It's just general. It's, maybe it's just because the start of this year, I don't know. In general, I feel like everyone this year is maybe starting a little bit of not as an excitement for 2024. So maybe that's just why it's boiling over to.
I still feel like it's been the shortest break between last race of last year and first race. I feel like maybe it's just not been enough time.
There's been so much off-season news in the last month. It feels like we've been live because all these things happening normally happens during the season.
Yeah.
So it feels like it has been going on.
Yeah, very true. Very true. So.
Yes. But we are excited. I'm excited for it.
Yeah.
It's F1. I'm excited.
Yep. I'm more excited for the F2.
I don't know what else there is.
But
I know.
But no, I mean,
yes.
there's not much else to talk about. We've already sort of gone over who we think will be relatively strong.
And even though they tested this track, which even the testing, it's not like that's like, oh, it's extended practice, so then you get a better idea of who's strong and who's weak. Because you don't know what parts they're testing, some teams to free practice one will bring a car that looks completely different. That's not uncommon as well.
Yep.
You don't know what people are running, what fuel loads, tires, blah, blah, blah. But in practice, generally you have a better idea. You get a good race run out there on, race setup. You get a good qualifying run out there, so you do get some of those questions answered.
Yeah.
It can sometimes lead to a bit of a skewed race because you did have so much prep. Which only makes I think the race after even more exciting, of course. But
true.
Looking at the circuit in a vacuum, it generally produces some decent racing. If the field is as close as we suspect it will be throughout most of the grid, then it should still be a good race. There could be some dramas, some cars blowing up, some other teams doing some wild things. It's where you start to see some of the cars come up. Is the Haas going to qualify well again? Is the Red Bull going to have infinite tire wear like people are reporting? Is the Ferrari going to have decent long range pace, but then it has horrible overheating issues? Is the Mercedes going to be 7th and 8th? well, then this is where we see some of those questions.
Yeah, yep, that's
You
it.
normally
Yeah,
get a few.
like there hasn't been a huge amount of change in terms of design, but there's been enough to, aerodynamics is everything, and there's been enough change in the aerodynamics, whether it's side pods, whether it's wings. It changes the airflow, which then changes how cooling works. Mercedes have literally pushed their cockpit back because that's obviously Hamilton complained that it was too far forward, etc. That changes a lot of how the car has to function as well in terms of aerodynamics and where you can place things in the car. So like weight distribution, and the wear, and blah blah blah, all that.
How well it can follow a car, and how
the
much
wake,
dirty air it produces.
So like it might seem like little changes, but when you're changing something on the aerodynamics, like especially things like front wing or side pods, because that is such a big driving force for everything else, they could just flop. Like, I mean, we've seen Mercedes bring their zero pod and they kept trying to hammer that home and it didn't really work, and we've seen Aston try and bring updates last year and none of them really worked and they fell backwards instead of going forwards. Like, you just don't really know, and testing gives you a very rough idea. But as you say, like,
it was a very safe testing too.
It was,
Like, we had the testing where Aston looked good last year, but they weren't sure if it was going to convert. You had like cars breaking down a lot. I think you had the Haas in the garage a lot. You had the McLaren, which looked dreadful, and it was like, oh, is that what's going to translate? And although we had a few things here and there, like maybe the Alpine looks a bit weaker or the RB looks a bit stronger, they're almost just little things here and there. And I think there's enough of those little things that once we start to get into the meat of it, where it will be quite interesting. And I think we will see quite a mix of drivers here and there. And it's still going to take a while. Like, these cars, as much as the rules didn't really change, a lot of them do look very different. There's not many cars where you look at it and you go, oh, it looks like last year's with a little bit here and there. I think maybe the Haas is the closest to that. But even when you look at all the cars from front on, and like a lot of teams have changed like front wing pretty dramatically, even like to the nose shape at the front. A lot of them have this lip under, which almost no one had. So there's enough there that it still could produce these little movements. And because it was so close last year, those little movements could be big movements in the grand scheme of things. So even talking about it now, I've perked my spirits up a bit. I'm like, I'm actually quite excited now. We just needed to talk it out.
That's all we have to do.
Nice.
To be fair, we haven't really talked a huge amount about it. Maybe because neither of us have been either, like, super duper excited, so we haven't been urging on the other person. Now all we have to do
There's
is
just been
force
so much else going on, so it's not like we're hankering for it. Sometimes you really miss F1, but it feels like with just so much going on for both of us. But now it'll be nice to have it back. It's going to be a brutal year for the teams. There's so many races, but hopefully it provides for something good. We will see. It's F1. Anything can happen.
Definitely.
And if you don't like it, the beauty is there's so much else to watch that you can just go watch that too, and that's completely fine as well.
Like Formula 2.
Exactly.
It's the pinnacle of motorsport.
And if you don't like that,
there's Formula 3.
Formula 3. And if you don't like that,
then fuck off. We don't
Porsche
want
Super Cup. The F1 Academy. Is that racing this weekend?
Actually, that.
We didn't predict the winner for F1 Academy.
No,
what are we doing? We
them
should have
last
predicted that. Maybe. No, I was about to say maybe before Jeddah weekend, but we've got a back-to-back. I don't know what.
I'm not.
We should predict the F1 Academy winner during our Jeddah preview.
We'll go to predictions. Do the thing.
Yes, this is my show. I say when we go to predictions. Yes. We do need to go to predictions. Do we start with the random number? We do, and then we go on. We should probably track it this year, so we do every number once and a few of them twice.
Okay. That's a good idea.
Last time
we had a lot of the same number. We had like 6 and...
6 is always a good one. 6
is
and
good.
8 are good.
Yeah. But we did have
random
6
number.
a lot. And 11 a lot, actually.
Yes.
Yep.
Speaking of which, we've got 15.
Oh, boy.
Wow, that's a really hard one. Who's going to be 15?
I was really hoping it was something higher up.
It's like just 7 names. You can pick one of them. It doesn't actually matter.
Yeah, that's what I literally just had, like, name. I'm like, nah.
What if you think it's going to be chaos and carnage, and you put
That's
like
what I
a
mean. Like
Sainz
it
or
could be.
Leclerc?
I don't know if it's
Like
gonna
they're
be
a
that
top
bold.
driver, but they're going to retire, but they're like retired after so many other drivers.
It could. Well, I mean, it could happen. I just don't see it happening. I'll say Bottas.
Yeah, that's what I was about to say. I'm like, nah.
I've done the first steal of the season.
I can't go too sour drivers, so I'll go Magnussen.
Okay. You'll think he'll be as high as 15. That's interesting.
Yeah, let's do it.
That's
We can't do
interesting.
two from the same team. Is that a new rule we should add? No. I love
Too
new
many
rules.
Too many rules. Now you have to pick
They
one.
can't share a same first letter, but they have to share this.
They have to be at
Can't
least
share a
10
birth
places apart from each other in the Constructors' Championship. Or the
Different
Drivers'
eye colour.
Championship. Can't be the same height.
Right.
Must be left-handed if you've picked a right-handed driver.
Yes. They couldn't have finished next to each other during the quiz, the 2023 drivers off-season quiz.
Yes.
They can't finish next to each other.
Okay.
They
That
can't
makes
have got
sense.
each other for Secret Santa as well. That's illegal.
Okay. Yep, that's a good one. There gotta be no drivers left.
Who's going to win the race?
Don't we usually go P3? Well, I guess. Who's gonna win the race? Max is gonna win the race, isn't he? Like.
Yeah.
So.
I think with how radical they've gone, it's not out of the picture for them to blow up. I think it's way more likely than any race last year, given how much they've changed. Any concept where you're stripping down cooling is, of course, risky.
Especially
But
somewhere like Bahrain, yeah.
But they also wouldn't have done it unless they were sure of what they're doing. So why would they throw away such an advantage, which is why it's so scary that they've done it.
Yeah, there's also reports that they were not even close to running at their like max fuel level during their runs as well.
And I think I said before that they apparently have zero tire wear, which I was like, what the hell does that even mean?
they come back, come back at the end of the race and they've still got the sheen on them, and you're like, what have they done?
They use one set of softs for the entire weekend,
Yep.
and one soft and a medium for the last lap of the race.
They don't even look rubbered in. It's like, yep, all right, that's.
They pull them off and they've still got the factory seal. They
Just
still
give them the
smell
trophy.
like a fresh tire.
Just give them the trophy now. Boy, we're being real positive about this one.
I think we're just being honest with how we're feeling.
So,
But P3, that's a bit tricky.
I've got Leclerc P3.
Okay, we're different. We've got something different.
Okay,
that's
cool.
Nice.
Yeah, I've been like safe-ish in that. Like, I'll just say I've got Max, Checo, Leclerc. I
thought you were dishing, Mr. No, I know. He always starts so
he
strong.
Starts strong and then he fades. Like you look at the first.
You feel like that
races.
testing really does him a benefit, where he really gets it together,
Yep,
and then as soon as that starts to wear off, it's
yes, that's exactly my thinking. I'm like, and I think if Red Bull are as ahead as everyone seems to think they are, as they seem to look, I think they could easily get a 1-2. Max will obviously be the P1 in that situation. Ferrari just look like the second strongest team as it stands right now from all the conversation, and you back Leclerc to be the stronger of those drivers. So it just kind of made sense to me for those to be the 1, 2, 3. So yeah, but you've gone different.
That's
so
good.
that's
I've got the same 1, 2, 3, but I've flipped second and third.
You think Ferrari will be that strong?
Well, I feel like Leclerc might just come out of the gates
Okay.
running. I mean, I wish it was as strong as he was when we all thought he was going to win the title easily.
Yep.
That was not that long ago.
No.
Less than 2 years ago.
Only a couple of years ago. I think it was it was the first. It was 22, wasn't it? Because it was the first year after the big shambles year of the
and
Red Bull Mercedes.
We were sitting there in Melbourne going, "Damn,
Yeah.
GG Ferrari, you've done it." And
Yeah.
now look where we are.
Yep.
I know, but
Oh,
I feel like sometimes they're a bit iffy in testing, but they just had a strong testing. Even if Checo, I think, as you say, might run out of the gates fairly strong, I feel like that Ferrari's set up to have a really strong start to the year. No idea how they'll develop it, but if I think they're going to start strong, then I feel like Leclerc generally at the start of the year is always at his strongest as well.
True.
And maybe even if Max runs away with it a little bit, maybe this is the closest race we have all year. Who knows? Not that I'm saying Leclerc will challenge for the win, but that might mean that he's closer then to Checo
Yep.
And Checker might, it's different. Hey, I put it down and I went, yeah, let's do it. And now that you've gone different, I'm happy that I did. It's nice to go something different.
Slightly different.
So
cool.
we're not just scoring the exact fucking same in the first race as well. That would be kind of a dud.
Yeah, get used to it.
A tiebreaker for fourth.
It'll happen pretty soon. Don't you worry about it. We're
gonna have to predict down, so we have tiebreakers in case we do tie. So you've got to have a backup fourth, fifth, sixth,
more rules
that you save beforehand,
more
and
rules.
then you. It's almost like we almost didn't get out every video last year, and yet I want to make things longer and more complicated.
We'll figure it out. She'll be right.
Indeed. But yes. Everyone who's listening, hey, thank you for joining us for another year. We are excited to be here. I think we do want to try change maybe a few things up, maybe with our editing and such, but I think we both just need to almost just settle into the new year and let F1 kick off, and then I guess we'll find our stride and try a few new things here and there. But otherwise, hey, let us know what you think of testing, what you think is going to happen in this race.
Check out our season predictions, driver predictions as well. Yep, check those out.
Should have a few up in pretty rapid succession.
Hopefully, yeah.
Yep. And other than that, I guess we will see you next time after hearing this, if everything has been sorted out correctly. You'll be hearing us when we do our race review.
Yeah.
For the first race of the year, where we're probably going to talk about F2 more than F1. We're not going to start an F2 review. That's it. That's the reveal.
Here's hoping. We're an F2 channel now.
Review.
We're teaming up with F1 feeder series on Twitter, and we're doing.
I feel like if I had $1 for every video where you've said that, I'd probably have $4 or $5. It's been uttered now and then through our history. We're an F2 channel now.
I feel like you'd have more than $4 or $5. I remember start of last year, I did say it a lot because F2 was just fire. The start of last year, it was really good. Watch F2. It's good.
Watch F2 and the F1, or just watch something. Hey, watch something this weekend. Do you know what? It's been a tough start of the year for everyone.
Watch the sunrise. Watch the sunrise. That'd be nice. Yeah.
Watch the sunrise.
Go
watch
touch
the
grass.
Sunrise while you watch the F1 if you're in that time zone. Who knows?
That'd be nice.
Indeed. Anyway, thank you for listening. We will be back afterwards. Take it easy.